There's no threat. They know or feel democracy. They you know, Chinese. They know or feel democracy. They will. Have you watched the video of when Chinese traveler?
You're just feeding the crocodile, hoping that he will eat you up. Some who failed to learn from decades of CCP behavior have been wringing their hands, wondering if we're being too cautious. People Republic of China has a resident card. Hong Kong has a Hong Kong permanent resident card or a resident card. Macau has an account special administrative region card. Among the graduates from both only the Republic of China. The People's Republic of China has no citizenship and no nationality. The Constitution gives only responsible to citizens and nationals. China's state system does not exist. Here your change is not clear.
即係你晾住佢搞住佢嘛，我哋咪集住晒㗎。
InShot of Kimberley, and I'm the representative of the Tibetan community here. I'm going to be doing my speech now, if this is what I'm saying. Am I doing my speech? Before I start, I'd like to thank the Gadigal people whose land we stand on today, who are part of the oldest surviving continuous culture in the world. I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. The CCP has started to implement colonial boarding schools in Tibet, with the excuse of saying that they're combating poverty. And according to a news report from China's Daily, it states that China is using these to narrow the rural-urban gap, the rural-urban education gap in the region. Yet these schools are more concentrated into areas in which more Tibetans are at. There have been several allegations against the CCP about this. There have been similar ones, such as the infringement of human rights, the forced relocation of Tibetan people from urban areas to limit their freedom of movement, expression, and right to practice religion. Yet China refuses to acknowledge this, saying excuses such as they're improving the livelihood of people and they're protecting the ecological environment. Yet if this was the case, why are so many peoples in Tibet not able to practice their religion? Why are the people being oppressed? Why do they neglect the teachings of languages of these oppressed ethnic minorities, such as the Tibetans, the Uyghurs, the Mongols? Why is it that people as young as 6 are forced into colonial boarding schools, stripped away from their parents, and forced to learn the Chinese culture and language? And for the excuse for the environment, why they put so much environmentally impacting infrastructure, such as megacities, dams, or even mines. Looking back at the colonial boarding schools, official data shows that approximately 800,000 Tibetans aged 6 to 18 are forced into colonial boarding schools. This is 78% of Tibetans stripped for the right to learn their own language. It's just not the Tibetans that are affected, as reports show that other ethnic minorities, such as the Uyghurs, such as the Mongols, are affected by the CCP, as their language and culture is eradicated by the CCP. China has continuously shown acts of oppression, violation of human rights, and more. Tibet is a major example of this, as countless recounts from Tibetans show that the CCP has destroyed their lives. Even Tibetans here, such as my mother, was affected by the CCP. Their family was affected by the CCP. But as the CCP fights to silence the outside world about what's happening, they also silence the people inside Tibet. The Tibetans, Mongols, and Uyghurs that are trying to send a message from Tibet are shut down by the CCP. The CCP threaten their families about their children and their futures, which force them to listen to China's ideals. Australia has experienced what Tibetans are currently facing. The indigenous people of Australia have experienced what Tibetans are facing. The pressure of the government bodies forcing their ideals onto you. Your beloved children being stolen and forced into schools in which they're not allowed to learn their own language, their own culture. And when they come back not knowing your language, not knowing who you are, not knowing your culture, not even acting themselves. They've been changed by the cruel government's ideals. This is the recreation of a stolen generation. This is the recreation of that tragedy. People here who are listening, imagine you had a child, or if you didn't have a child, just imagine someone that you truly care about. Being stolen, being put into a school, being forced to learn something that they don't want to do, and when they come back, they don't know you. They don't know anything. They're supposedly re-educated for the greater good, so then they can listen to the government. I hope that this speech, along with the countless others that will come before and will continue to come, will at least spark a flame in you, spark that motivation to come help us, to come help our cause for true peace and for freedom. My name is Tenzin Chokak Gundaling. This is my speech on colonial boarding schools in Tibet. Thank you. Thank you very much.
讲，因为这已经是一个很 visible, very obvious thing that we see today. 我想说的是，刚刚有位女士经过，然后她问我，你知道这是真的吗？我说我当然知道，我奶奶、我爷爷，她也是其中的受害者之一。那她说，我们给你们吃的、喝的，还有给你们提供教育，你们还不知足吗？我就说，你难道觉得我们藏人就是那么的贫困吗？不是，我们藏人 we're simplicity. We were happy on our land. That's it. We're religious. 但是呢，自从1949年中国共产党非法入侵以及殖民西藏之后呢，我们的祖父、我们的爸爸妈妈以及我们的后代，像他们的话，他们就是比我小5岁、6岁的小青年，他们是志愿者，然后他们因为知道他们的长辈当年经历过不公的对待，而且这个对待确实是一个外来入侵者的一个，所以我们这些年轻人今天能够站在这里，然后面向你们，多半是中国人，多半是我们的盟友，我们很开心，谢谢你们。那今天我们想要让大家知道的很重要的议题，确实是 目前最重要而且比较就是很 severe 的 issue， Chinese boarding school in Tibet. Why it's very severe? The aim of the school is try to erupt our culture. 就是这种寄宿制学校，让我们的小孩被迫到学校里面，然后被迫要接受以喜为中心的一个教育，然后忘掉自己的母语，确实是想要必须接受中国汉人的一个 educational style. So this is not Tibetan. This is not our culture. That's why we advocating the local peoples who is now we can see most of them are Chinese or Asians. We believe everyone is well aware of CCP. Thank you for attending this event. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
I think that's all for today. Dr. Jennifer Chen to make a speech on behalf of Hong Kong girls. Dr. Chen, please.
Hi everyone, thank you for inviting me. Hold on.
Ostensibly private companies.
Founded on control only by the Communist Party. Now this is an inhuman ideology, and it has to be understood in this context, because today it's impacting Australia. It's impacting people all over the world, and we're not aware of it. Most people are not aware of the foundation of communism. And this is not a political speech, this is a humanitarian speech, and the people gathered here today are here because they care about our humanity. They care about Australians. They care, of course, about the people in their own communities suffering within China. So Falun Gong teaches truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. It teaches people to be honest, to be kind, and to be tolerant. Now, what government wouldn't want people to be kind, honest, tolerant, and work hard? Work hard in the community. It doesn't make sense to start persecuting and killing and torturing people, to not be honest, to not be kind, not be tolerant. It's obscene, it's absurd. But that's the Chinese Communist Party. And why does it fear Falun Gong? Why does it fear honest people? If you know, you may remember Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
80 million innocent people, including Tibetans, Uyghurs, Hong Kongers, the Chinese, and other nationalities under its control. We are fighting against the brutality of this communist regime altogether. And we will continue to fight this TTP tyranny together until one day we terminate this brutal regime, this tyranny. I will take this opportunity to also remind Australians and the international community the CCP has been able to sustain its brutal rule in China because of the support of the international community, including the government of democracies around the world. Especially over the past 50 years, they can pursue the policy of appeasement for short-term commercial interest. They lend their support to this criminal regime in order to earn some money with blood. Fortunately, over the last few years, due to our effort Especially
Autonomous Sanctions Act that Australia has. It's a law. But has Australia sanctioned any Chinese Communist Party official for their abuse of Tibetans, or Uyghurs, Falun Gong practitioners, Christians? No, they have not. We've had this law for over 2 years and we have not sanctioned anyone. Now, the problem for the government is that they have these loopholes in that legislation that says, well, if it's in our national interest, we won't sanction anyone. We won't sanction those Communist Party people. They've only sanctioned a few Myanmar generals and a few people from Iran, entities or individuals. But they have not sanctioned any Chinese Communist Party official. And that's something that has to change. That's part of why we're here today, to raise awareness on this day, the supposed National Day of China, the Communist Party Day, is to help Australians understand this issue, that we have a law that says we can identify, we can call out Chinese officials who are involved in gross, egregious human rights abuses. We can prevent them from coming to Australia. We can lock up their finances. We can stop their relatives from coming here. And that's the sort of impact on Chinese Communist Party officials they really don't like. They do understand, if you impact my ability to send my family overseas, or for me to get a visa to escape China when communist
Falun Gong adherents, followers, they are just ordinary people to practice their basic exercise.
Hong Kong. And this is the first event that Hong Kong people start to rebel and ask for more democracy. And so after that, then we see that 5 years later, then we have the Hong Kong anti-extraditionary rules in Hong Kong as well. So we can do this. But there's some still, say for example, from the university students, from high school students, they organize different groups that will support this movement. And that also marked the awareness of the students, even high school students, about their future. Also, they need in the future more democracy of Hong Kong. But however, we can see that the Hong Kong, the CCP cut down such requests. So this revolution is 79 days with occupations of the cities, demanding for the transparency of the government, but however it was cut down, as I've said. And so that is because the government, especially the Natural People Congress, ruled down in August 31st of 2014 about the ask for the elections, or completely.
They have the ambition to take over the world. We need to terminate anti group, otherwise they will take us, even someday take over Australia. So that we need to fight all together. Next, let me invite Mr. Chen Yonglin to make a speech on behalf of the Chinese community. Okay, thank you. Okay.
I speak on behalf of myself. My father was persecuted to death during the Cultural Revolution. And I also witnessed the Tiananmen massacre, and also saw the Chinese regime's persecution on Falun Gong and all other groups. If we review the Chinese Communist Party's history, it's a criminal history from the beginning. And during the past 75 years, over 70 million Chinese and other ethnic group people were killed. And so I can review a few of them. In 1950s, over 2 million former landlords were executed. In 1950s also, crackdown on anti-revolution movement killed 710,000 people from former national government of Kuomintang. And these are military officials, former government, before communist regime. In 1958 to 1961, the Chan Mao launched the Great Leap Forward. That's caused a great famine, led to the death toll of 36 million to 45 million of the Chinese. That's the data of the Chinese communist regime. It's not made up. From 1966 to 1976, during the Cultural Revolution, at least 3 million lives were deprived by the Chinese regime. Over 100 million people were persecuted. My father was persecuted to death during the Cultural Revolution during that time. In 1989, during the Tiananmen massacre, which is popularly estimated over 1,000 to 10,000 students and civilians were killed. From 2001 to 2007, during the Chinese government, called the Henan Blood for Cash scheme, HIV/AIDS epidemic, which managed by the Chinese regime, led to death toll of 1